I am Afolake Oyiloye. The top stories this week. Burkina Faso's national plan for economic and social development. Agriculture, a most viable business on the continent.
Imagine for a moment what it would look like if millions of hands came together all at once to heal the earth. In Burkina Faso, that vision recently became a breathtaking reality. In an extraordinary display of unity and determination, this West African nation achieved something no one thought possible, planting 5 million trees in a single hour. It wasn't just an environmental project, it was a rallying cry, a show of hope, and a declaration that even the harshest challenges, like desertification, can be tackled with collective willpower. From small rural villages to bustling urban centers, people poured out of homes, schools, farms, and offices to take part in what they proudly called the Patriotic Hour to Green Faso. This massive effort could not have come at a more crucial time. The Sahel region, where Burkina Faso lies, is one of the world's most climate-stressed areas. With each passing year, the desert creeps forward, swallowing fertile land, draining water reserves, and threatening the food security of millions who rely on agriculture to survive. In many villages, people still place more trust in the healing power of trees than in modern clinics. And now, the country is finding ways to blend both worlds. The Ministry of Health is even integrating traditional medicinal knowledge with hospital systems, recognizing how deeply tied community well-being is to the land itself. Behind this historic moment stands a leader determined to rewrite Burkina Faso's future. President Ibrahim Traoré, who rose to power in 2022, made it clear from the start that restoring the environment wasn't optional. It was central to the country's survival and progress. Under his watch, ecological recovery has been treated not just as a green cause, but as a matter of national security and economic revival. His government didn't just launch isolated campaigns, they made environmental action a shared national mission. Since 2023 alone, over 30 million Burkinabés have rolled up their sleeves to plant trees, rejuvenate soil, and build resilience against an increasingly unpredictable climate. According to satellite data, these efforts are working. Tree cover across Burkina Faso has climbed by nearly 15% since 2020. An astonishing reversal at a time when many neighboring countries are watching their forests vanish. This greening of the nation isn't just cosmetic, it's critical. Trees help lock moisture into the soil, slow down wind erosion, and create microclimates that encourage rainfall, lifelines in a place where droughts are more common than steady harvests. For a country where over 80% of people depend on farming, these environmental gains translate directly into full grain stores, secure incomes, and healthier families. The story doesn't end with planting either. Communities are actively choosing the types of trees that serve both ecological and economic needs. One local farmer shared how he moved beyond mangoes, which many people already grow, and began cultivating baobabs. He noticed neighbors frequently asking for baobab leaves for cooking, so he decided to scale up, reasoning that a bigger harvest could better support local diets and incomes. Official figures tell a remarkable story. Between 2020 and 2024, Burkina Faso added more than 600,000 hectares of tree cover, according to Global Forest Watch. This kind of sustained expansion doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of policies that link environmental stewardship with economic opportunity, programs that empower villagers to take ownership of restoration projects, teaching them how to improve soil quality, conserve water, and diversify their crops. In fact, this combined approach is what makes Burkina Faso's model so compelling. It's not just about planting trees to be green. It's about ensuring those trees contribute to livelihoods, food security, and long-term prosperity. Under Traoré's leadership, the country has threaded environmental goals into the fabric of national development. Local communities lead many of these initiatives, supported by government training sessions, access to seedlings, and help with getting products to market. The results speak volumes. Agroforestry, farming that deliberately integrates trees with crops, now covers over 5 million hectares across Burkina Faso. More than 4 million smallholder farmers are benefiting, with average crop yields jumping by 25%. This means more food on tables and extra income from selling surplus harvests, shea nuts, honey, or even medicinal plants. Just the shea industry alone pumps more than $150 million a year into the rural economy. Even more importantly, these practices help farmers withstand the shocks of climate change. Trees shade crops, improve soil health, and lock away carbon, all essential defenses as droughts grow more intense. Agroforestry also positions Burkina Faso to benefit from global carbon markets, opening new streams of revenue that reward countries for capturing greenhouse gases. Meanwhile, international donors have been paying attention. Since 2022, they've poured over $120 million into Burkina Faso's environmental projects, drawn by the country's reputation as a leader in sustainable land management. It's a striking turnaround for a place once seen primarily as climate vulnerable. Still, challenges remain. The Sahel is heating up faster than much of the planet, and the pressure of a growing population continues to weigh on resources. Yet Burkina Faso's steady march forward proves that even under tough conditions, it's possible to change the trajectory with clear priorities, grassroots energy, and leadership that refuses to separate ecology from economy. Burkina Faso's green hour may have lasted just 60 minutes, but its impact is set to stretch across generations. It's a testament to what's possible when people stand shoulder to shoulder, digging into the earth, not just to plant trees, but to sow the seeds of a future where prosperity and sustainability grow together. For Burkina Faso, restoring forests is only half the battle. In a country where annual rainfall in many northern regions barely reaches 600 millimeters, managing every drop of water is a matter of survival. Without innovative approaches to capture and conserve moisture, even the most ambitious reforestation campaigns would struggle to take root. Under President Ibrahim Traore's leadership, the government has made smart water management a backbone of its climate resilience strategy, and the results are rewriting the country's future. At the heart of this effort is a humble but powerful traditional practice known as zai pits. These are small, shallow holes dug into hard, degraded soil. Each pit is filled with compost or organic waste, creating a pocket that catches rainwater and channels nutrients directly to plant roots. It's a simple method that farmers across the Sahel have relied on for generations, especially when land turns to dust. Since 2021, Burkina Faso has launched major national programs to revive and scale up these zai techniques. Supported by local governments and village councils, farmers have dug millions of these pits by hand. The impact has been dramatic. More than 2 million hectares of once barren land have now been brought back to life. Studies show zai pits can improve water infiltration by up to 40%, allowing crops to thrive even during long dry spells that would normally wipe out harvests. Complementing these age-old methods are modern engineering solutions. Under Traoré, Burkina Faso has invested heavily in restoring and building new water infrastructure. More than 60 dams have been rehabilitated across the country, increasing water storage for both farming and household use. Expanded irrigation networks now support year-round cultivation for tens of thousands of families. In places where streams once dried up by mid-year, green fields now stand in stark contrast to the sun-scorched Sahel beyond. These combined efforts are paying off. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, targeted areas in Burkina Faso have seen agricultural productivity rise by 15%, directly improving food security and household incomes. In regions previously written off as lost to desertification, fields are again dotted with millet, maize, and groundnut crops swaying in the breeze. Traoré's government has also made sure that modern science supports these efforts. National adaptation plans prioritize blending indigenous knowledge like zai pits with soil analysis and satellite data, creating a robust approach that respects tradition while applying cutting-edge insight. It's a model that's gaining international attention, not just for its practicality, but for how it centers local communities as co-designers of their own climate resilience. This balance between honoring heritage and embracing innovation runs deep in Burkina Faso's broader agricultural strategy. Programs promote farmer-managed natural regeneration, FMNR, a practice where farmers carefully protect and prune naturally sprouting trees among their fields. This low-cost approach encourages biodiversity and enriches the soil, improving yields without expensive fertilizers. Recent surveys show over 70% of rural farmers now blend these traditional methods with new techniques, boosting land productivity by 30% or more. President Traoré often emphasizes that these practices do more than secure harvests. They build dignity and independence. When farmers can restore their own land, they're not waiting for outside aid. They're actively shaping their futures. This empowerment is critical in a region where repeated droughts and political instability have sometimes left communities feeling at the mercy of forces beyond their control. The economic benefits of these environmental successes ripple through the countryside. Reforesting and restoring over 800,000 hectares of land in recent years hasn't just meant more trees, it's meant more jobs. Thousands now find steady work in managing nurseries, planting seedlings, maintaining water structures, or processing forest products. Consider the shea industry. In Burkina Faso, women have long gathered shea nuts to produce butter for cooking, cosmetics, and medicine. As trees multiply and markets expand, the shea sector alone now contributes over $150 million annually to the economy, offering vital income in rural areas. Other forest products like honey and medicinal plants bring in additional earnings, weaving nature directly into the fabric of household budgets. International partners are taking note. Since 2022, more than $120 million in environmental funding has flowed into Burkina Faso. Donors see a country turning climate vulnerability into an opportunity to build a new kind of economy, one rooted in sustainability, local ownership, and resilience. Traoré's government has leveraged these funds to scale projects that make an immediate difference, from training farmers in sustainable techniques to building local processing facilities that keep more profits within villages. Yet challenges remain. The Sahel is warming 1.5 times faster than the global average. Droughts are becoming more frequent, and the population continues to grow, increasing pressure on fragile ecosystems. Security concerns in certain regions also complicate project rollouts. Areas struggling with armed groups face added risks, making it harder to carry out large-scale planting or infrastructure work. But Burkina Faso's progress so far underscores a powerful lesson. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding difficulties. It comes from adapting and finding ways to thrive despite them. Under Traoré's leadership, the country has shown remarkable flexibility. Policies are continuously adjusted, with new local cooperatives formed and emergency support provided where needed. Partnerships with international agencies ensure that technical expertise and additional resources reach even remote communities. Crucially, Burkina Faso's approach has been deeply inclusive. Restoration projects make a deliberate effort to involve women, youth, and marginalized groups, people often left out of national development conversations. By centering these voices, the country builds a broader base of support for environmental stewardship, ensuring programs aren't just effective on paper, but embraced on the ground. From smart water harvesting in zai pits to modern dams, from nurturing native trees to exporting shea butter, Burkina Faso is crafting a uniquely balanced path toward climate adaptation. It's a story of a country refusing to let adversity dictate its destiny. Instead, it's rewriting that destiny with every seed planted and every drop of water saved. What's happening in Burkina Faso isn't just an inspiring chapter in the country's own story. It's becoming a global case study in how to tackle some of the toughest challenges of our time. Under President Ibrahim Traoré's leadership, the country is proving that even a nation grappling with conflict, climate extremes, and economic constraints can chart a path toward a greener, more secure future. A big reason this works is that Burkina Faso doesn't treat environmental restoration as a separate issue to be handled by a few ministries or NGOs. It's woven into the very fabric of national policy, linked directly to food security, health, jobs, and even peace. Traoré and his team understand that when land degrades, poverty rises. When water grows scarce, conflicts over resources flare up. By reversing environmental damage, they're also tackling the root causes of instability. That's why recent national plans have set ambitious targets. By 2030, Burkina Faso aims to restore another 2 million hectares of degraded land. an effort tied closely to Africa's broader forest landscape restoration goals. This means more trees anchoring soil, more rainfall absorbed instead of running off, more farms that can weather drought, and critically, more people who can feed their families without fear. To support this, the government is investing in everything from better roads to help farmers get products to market, to rural education programs that teach the next generation how to blend ancient practices with new technologies. Over 50% of rural households are already participating in land restoration programs, making sustainability not just a government slogan, but a daily reality. What makes Burkina Faso stand out is how it merges local traditions with scientific tools. Satellite data and soil sensors guide where new tree belts are planted, while village elders teach which native species thrive best in specific microclimates. It's a hybrid approach that respects wisdom passed down through centuries, yet stays agile enough to adapt to modern climate data. This doesn't just yield healthier forests, it builds a sense of ownership and pride that you can't legislate from the top down. The economic side of this green surge is equally critical. Jobs in nursery management, seed collection, ecotourism, and processing forest products are multiplying. Reforestation has become more than an ecological goal. It's an engine for rural economies. Small enterprises are popping up around shea nut harvesting, honey production, and medicinal plant processing. In many villages, you can literally see money growing on trees. This integrated model, where restoring ecosystems directly strengthens local wallets, is catching the eye of international investors and climate funds. Burkina Faso is increasingly viewed as a solid bet for green financing, with over $120 million already flowing into related projects since 2022. This external funding doesn't just build dams or distribute seedlings, it fuels a broader cycle of growth, skills training, and self-reliance. Of course, no success story is without hurdles. Climate change continues to loom large. The Sahel region is experiencing temperature increases nearly 1.5 times faster than the global average, with unpredictable rainfall patterns that keep farmers on edge, and pockets of violence still threaten to disrupt carefully laid plans. Yet what sets Burkina Faso apart is how these challenges are met with quiet, determined resilience. Traoré's administration keeps tweaking policies to stay responsive. New cooperatives are formed to help vulnerable groups pool resources. Emergency grain reserves are expanded so that even if a drought hits hard, families aren't left desperate. International partnerships bring in technical expertise and monitoring tools to spot problems early. Just as important is the social dimension. Restoration efforts in Burkina Faso intentionally include those often left on the sidelines: women, young people, and marginalized ethnic communities. In many places, women's cooperatives run entire nurseries, deciding which tree varieties to cultivate and how profits are shared. Youth groups are trained as local climate ambassadors, blending traditional songs and storytelling with lessons on soil health and water conservation. These initiatives don't just restore land, they stitch society tighter together. Taken as a whole, this approach offers powerful lessons for other nations grappling with environmental decline. It shows that solutions don't always have to be high-tech or imposed from outside. Sometimes they lie in listening to local voices, giving them tools to amplify what they already know, and backing it up with steady policy support. And for Burkina Faso itself, the transformation is more than economic or ecological. It's psychological. There's a growing belief that the country isn't destined to remain a victim of climate patterns or global market swings. Instead, people are starting to see themselves as stewards of their land, with the power to shape their destiny. Standing back, it's hard not to be struck by how much has changed in just a few short years. Fields once cracked and barren are now green with millet and scattered trees. Local markets buzz with new products, from beeswax candles to nutrient-rich baobab powder. Women who once had to travel kilometers for firewood now gather it near home, thanks to denser local forests. Children learn about zai pits and carbon sequestration alongside traditional tales by the fireside. Looking ahead, Burkina Faso's journey remains fragile, balanced against unpredictable weather and the complexities of regional security. But the foundation laid by Traoré's vision, one that sees land restoration as tied to health, peace, and prosperity, offers a sturdy starting point. With each new planting season, the country inches closer to proving that even places once written off by the world can become beacons of resilience. Wrap up and call to action. So that's the story of how Burkina Faso is rewriting its future. One tree, one farm, and one community at a time. From restoring precious water resources to blending old wisdom with new science, this small West African nation is showing that when leadership meets local drive, even the harshest challenges can be turned into opportunities. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take on how countries like Burkina Faso are fighting back against climate challenges. If you appreciate stories like this, give the video a like to support more content that matters. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated on more inspiring stories from around the world.